If you do not like your life, if you are going through a big transformation, if you feel like you've been in an existential crisis for a little too long, well then, hello. My name is Kat, and I quit my corporate job 1 year ago so that way I could find a more authentic and fulfilling lifestyle. And in doing so, I think I've cracked some codes. So first off, you need three things. You need to understand yourself, you need to understand your emotions, and you need to understand your thoughts. Now, how do we do that? Great question. So here's the number one thing. Going into it, understand how to ebb and flow. Because what's going to happen is it's not going to happen overnight. It's actually going to happen little by little. It's going to happen iteration after iteration. And that is very, very important to keep in mind from the beginning, because you will get very, very frustrated. Now, another thing about this, there is a lot of things that we have been told that we should want or who we should be. You need to forget all of that. And that is a lot, but that's okay. We have a process here. So, when you're starting off, you need to truly think about who you want to be and who you are. That means I would look at your childhood and see what did you enjoy then before people truly told you, yeah, that's not for you. Look at your childhood. Look at what you like now. Do you have any similarities? Because that might just be where you should really look. Beyond that, you might have a little resistance to this, but astrology and human design. If you can get into both of those, you will start to understand your greater purpose for being alive. Now, when you understand the greater purpose of you being alive, you can kind of tailor it using your actual interests, which you might also find within those charts. I'm just saying that if you need a place to start, it is not a bad place to start. And you might figure out just how far off from your life purpose you might be right now, and that might actually be why you feel the way that you feel. Because you are so far astray from what you're supposed to be doing. Now, that in itself is going to be a whole journey, because as you get into astrology, as you get into human design, you're gonna be overwhelmed with information at first, and you're not really gonna know where to look, because you're just gonna be trying to learn archetypes, you're gonna be trying to understand houses, you're gonna be trying to understand how things weave together as well. And yes, you can get other people to help you with this, but truthfully, I really do think the more that you invest in yourself, the more you're gonna get out of it, and the more you're gonna understand yourself anyways. Besides that, you need to understand your emotions. And I think that's a lot in this day and age, because no one teaches emotions, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because it's quite literally what controls us. And I will in fact be having a whole series about the way that emotions and teaching emotions and social dynamics to children in school will actually completely change our society, coming soon. Anyways, how do you feel your emotions? How do you really start down that journey? Here's the thing, it's going to be really uncomfortable, and I'm going to tell you that up front. So what I need you to do is keep an open mind. First off, you got to give yourself permission to actually feel your feelings. And you're probably like, what the fuck does that mean? And I get that. I get that because I was once there too. It means that when you actually kind of start to feel something besides whatever you normally feel, you got to actually let it, you got to let it happen. Now, how do you actually get comfortable enough to actually allow yourself to let that happen? Personally, the way that I got there, acting. I realized a lot. I tried to be an actress for 4 months last year. In doing that, I took a class, and it's crazy how when you start to pretend to have emotions, you kind of start to understand your blocks of which emotions you struggle to feel. The more that you struggle to feel those emotions, the more monologues or scenes that you should try and find where you have to convey those emotions. And the reason I say this is because you're going to separate it from yourself. It's going to be the character's emotion, not your emotion, so you're going to feel safer feeling it, okay? Now, once you get comfortable or understand what that feeling feels like, that's when you add in the permission to let yourself feel it for you. When you can combine those two elements of having practiced feeling the emotion and allowing yourself to actually feel the emotion, that is when you will truly start to feel. When you are there, let it flow. Meditate in it, sit in it. Don't grab for your phone, don't grab for a book, don't move from the place that you are sitting. I need you to breathe. I don't even really think I want you thinking, because then you're going to be able to think yourself out of that feeling. I want you so far deep in that shit that you're not going anywhere. Okay? Now, another tool that you can use for understanding your emotions is, of course, you could do like some shadow work. You can go through all the prompts and really think about things. I think personally that can allow for you to lie to yourself a lot. Now, this is going to be a little woo-woo, but I want you to stay with me here. Okay? Tarot cards. Tarot reads energy. What are emotions? Energy in motion. Those bad boys, they are going to tell you everything that you are lying to yourself about. So what I want you to do is, I don't care if you don't think that you know how to read tarot, because at the end of the day, as someone that does know how to read tarot, I actually don't read anything for myself because I know I have a personal bias. So what do? I go on ChatGPT and I write the question, and then I tell it what cards, whether they're upright or reversed, and I let it interpret it for me. Now, as you go through this, you are going to be asking yourself, how do I feel about this? Where am I lying to myself? You can go through a lot of the shadow questions if you've already got those books and stuff, and truly see, do your answers match up with what you already wrote? Or better yet, like, use that as a tool. Is like, if you really don't know how to feel emotions from the start, you just start with asking the questions and drawing the cards. Don't even think for yourself, because you have no idea what the fuck you're thinking or what the fuck you're feeling. Then, as you advance, as you progress, as you start to understand emotions, that's when you have the prompts, you ask the questions to yourself, you answer the questions for yourself, and then you draw cards to see how aligned they are. That's how you're truly going to start to understand your own energy. Because again, emotions should not have shame associated with them, because they're just literally energy in motion. Let those bad boys flow, okay? Now, besides that, I need you to start tracking your mood. And that might sound crazy, but I have started doing it for the past 2 weeks, and I do think it's helpful. I think it's helpful to be able to see all of the activities that you're doing in your day and how it might be contributing to your emotions and your mood. If you normally work out and you didn't work out, how does that affect you? This workout versus this workout, how does that affect your mood? What hobbies did you do? How well did you take care of yourself that day? Who did you hang out with? These are all things that you should in fact be tracking, so that way you can actually truly look back at what is beneficial for you, and beneficial to, in the sense that you don't stay stuck in an emotion and you're generally living in a state or a vibration of happiness, peace, love. Now, what else? You need to start understanding emotional cycles after that. Because when you can understand when you're going through a sad cycle, what to do and not get stuck in that emotion, that's what leads to depression, is getting stuck in the sad emotion and being comfortable in the sad emotion. Because then once you're comfortable in that emotion, you just stay there. And your comfortability with it is kind of scary. And that's where it gets dark. So it's understanding emotional cycles, understanding what your head is saying to you or what your mind's saying to you, and how to pull yourself out of that, but how to sit with it first before you pull it out. It's understanding that you have no reason to fear being sad, because you will get out of it. Besides understanding the purpose, your purpose, and your emotions, the last thing that I really think that you need to understand about yourself is your thoughts. Because here's the thing. If you want to be a good communicator, you have to understand what you are communicating. So, what I need you to do when it comes to your thoughts, I need you to journal. And this is also going to help you with understanding your emotions as well. I personally do the thing called morning pages. That's from The Artist's Way. Completely changed my life. Basically, it's 3 just stream of consciousness pages that you write as soon as you wake up in the morning. Feel free to brush your teeth, whatever. but I think you should truly have it be the first activity, like before breakfast and everything like that. And it's basically so that way anything that you are going to ruminate on throughout the day, you are kind of just getting it out on the pages. Now, hear me out, because you may not notice a huge difference in the first week. You may not notice it in the first 3 weeks. You may not notice anything truly different until 2 months of consistently doing it. But I promise you, you will get to a point where you realize my thoughts are no longer racing, because what's happening is you are going to have to slow down your thoughts in order to write them. When you are slowing them down, you're able to process them better, but also you're adding in a different sensory to it. So again, it's just helping you to actually process the information that is happening in your brain. Besides that, I need you to write down your thoughts in notes, because I think that everyone is creative, and I think you have good things to say. I need you to write that down. Just keep it there and look back on it. And that's the other part of this, is finding a system you like. Now, personally, this is where I'm still experimenting, but I think that knowing what I know about having racing thoughts and having a lot of ideas, I need to organize them better. I need to have a system of getting the ideas, writing them down or organizing them, and then later processing them. So I'm working on the processing phase of my thoughts, and I think it's really going to help to have Notion and being able to keep everything in one section, because the more I can take out, or the less fear I have that I'm going to forget a thought, the clearer my brain is going to stay. It's going to operate much smoother knowing that I have everything that I need. So while you are doing that, creating a schedule for understanding your thoughts, for really taking time to review everything about yourself, your emotions, and your thoughts, you will be in a significantly better place to have as a base for you to build on. And truthfully, I think that if we could base our education systems off of teaching children this to start with, instead of focusing on all of these other subjects and not treating them like a human being, like the self is not the thing that you have to care for most before you can go out and experiment with other things. Imagine a world where as adults you didn't have to unlearn everything before you learn these first 3 things. I'm just saying, I think it would change a lot of lives. I think it would change society. Anyways, if you like what I had to say, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember to be patient with yourself and be empathetic towards yourself during this process. And I hope you have a great day. Okay, love you, bye. Mwah.